Hey, so mate might be a little mad at me for using her credit card to buy a 1 month subscription for a downloader. So, yeah, hopefully I can get a job because I got a few applications and I'm gonna send in my resume to a few places, like online because I can't get to a printer. So let's get on with the tragic murder of John Benet Ramsey. Three, two, one, play.
This week on Buzzfeed Unsolved, we discuss the death of John Benet Ramsey, a case that to this day still captivates the nation. I gotta say, this one really gives me the creeps.
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. A child died.
I'm not stoked here.
No, I'm not stoked, but everyone seems to want to hear about it, so here we go. On the morning of December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, Patsy Ramsey claimed to discover a ransom note for her 6-year-old daughter, John Benet Ramsey, on the back staircase inside the house. This prompted Patsy Ramsey to call the police at 5:52 a.m. to report John Benet as missing. The people inside the house at the time were John Ramsey, her father, Patsy Ramsey, her mother, and Burke Ramsey, her 9-year-old brother. Bizarrely, the body of John Benet Ramsey was found less than 8 hours later, and even stranger, the body was found inside the Ramsey residence, in the utility room in the basement. The body was found by John Benet's father. She was found with duct tape over her mouth and a smooth cord around her neck. It is widely reported that the crime scene was heavily compromised by people arriving at the scene. The police later claimed that they had not searched the house.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Because there was no reason
Contaminated crime scenes make me cringe.
Was in the house. At the time of her death, John Benet Ramsey was a well-decorated beauty pageant competitor, having won at least 5 high-profile competitions. Her death was ruled a homicide. Strange, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's peculiar. I mean, I'm trying to think of, I've read a lot of these cases. I can't recall one case where the missing person was inside the
It's
house.
weird.
It's spooky.
It is spooky.
Have you checked the children?
That one creepypasta
was bludgeoned to death,
or
while the
urban legend.
coroner ruled that John Benet had died of asphyxiation caused by being strangled. A paintbrush from Patsy's hobby kit was used to tighten the rope that strangled John Benet. There was DNA found on John Benet's long johns and underwear, both belonging to a single unidentified man, who, when compared to the FBI's database of convicted violent offenders in 2004, was not found among 1.5 million samples.
When you say DNA.
Oh, it's not like that.
Okay.
Not like that.
I wanted to be, how gross we were.
That was just a generic DNA,
Sets of unidentified footprints
not the reproductive DNA.
There was a rope found close by John Benet's bedroom that did not belong to the Ramseys. However, as of 2006, the rope had never been tested. If somebody broke into the house, they did so cleanly, as there was no footsteps in the snow outside the house, as well as no sign of forced injury.
This is Colorado, right?
It's snowing. I mean, conceivably, maybe the snow got covered up.
I'm thinking maybe the snow got covered up.
There's also
I know snow. You don't know snow because you're a Southern California
Oh, you're gonna
Lily,
pull this
but
card now from your Chicago, from the Windy City, and I don't know anything about weather because
we know
us
snow out
Californians
there.
have
We
it
know
so
snow.
nice. It's not that hard.
And it's frozen rain.
There's some nuance to it. There's some intricacy, and if
Such as what?
oh, you don't even know.
Now I'm thinking of that picture of that one guy about to dunk a snowball on another guy's head, and it was because of the first snow in Egypt for 112 years.
Oh, I guess it is
Just
very
Google that.
specific. Actually, we're gonna touch on why that.
I'll probably add a picture at the end of the video.
This is what I'm telling you about.
I think it is.
Did
and
that number
I think
stick
you're-
out to you the first time?
It did, but I think you're tooting your own horn a little bit too much.
Shame the brain.
Okay. With the exchange to take place.
Oh,
the
it was a
next day at
terrible Christmas
8
present.
a.m. The highly scrutinized note starts with, quote, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves.
The
A
fuck?
strange declaration that would ultimately
I think it was a red herring.
You're sending someone a ransom note. I would imagine you would want to put in as little detail as possible.
That's true.
I'm not going to say, Dear
This
Mr.
smells like
Ramsey,
herring, a
it's
red
Longfellow."
herring.
It almost seems cartoony. Almost as if it was fake. Let's move on. Here's another excerpt. Quote, the two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you. so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police or FBI, will result in your daughter being beheaded.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, what?
It's a fucking ransom note. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back.
Fucking mathematician over here.
I know, this guy is a smug piece
I've crunched the numbers.
I've run the permutations through my little computer, and all of them say, you're fucked.
My murder laptop.
Murder laptop. The letter was signed SBTC.
Santa Barbara, true crime?
One curious fact is that the sum of $118,000 was close to the amount that John Ramsey received for a bonus that year. That's when you asked the question about the specificity of the number.
Yeah,
There it is.
I've connected the two dots.
You didn't connect shit, but
I've connected them.
however, the most chilling fact about the ransom note was that it was determined that the note was written using pen and paper from inside the house. While this detail is absolutely horrifying, it also brought a lot of suspicion into the integrity of the note. This suggests that the killer somehow entered the house, wrote the note inside, and for some reason then killed JonBenet Ramsey after writing a ransom note. All of this occurring while the other 3 Ramsey family members were inside the house.
I feel like I've been in some big houses where you could be at one end, someone in the other end could be straight up murdering a human being and you wouldn't even know.
Would you take that kind of a risk as a killer to do all these weird little things inside the house?
Yes.
Analysis of the notepad used suggested that a practice letter was written, and part of a practice note was found. There were spelling errors in the letter on words thought to be easy, like possession. Yet some wonder how words such as attaché, with an accent on the E, were spelled correctly. Some believe this adds up to the letter being a
Maybe the guy didn't speak English as a first language?
This becomes even more puzzling.
Maybe the practice letter was just sort of, you know, when you write like a banner and you write with a big marker and then
when you're
suddenly
making the big
you've
old
got
blue-
like 3 letters to squeeze in at the end and it looks all shitty.
Are you under the impression he wrote this in bubbly letters?
No, I'm just saying maybe he was spacing it out.
It's a notepad. He doesn't need to
I
space
don't
it
know.
out.
Okay, then I don't understand the practice
No,
letter.
neither do I. That's the point.
Jesus, I don't understand the beheading. What is that all
Islamophobia?
about?
With that, let's
AKA being a douchebag to a minority group?
In the early goings of the case, the Ramsey family was under heavy scrutiny, given the suspicions of the ransom note's authenticity and the little evidence to suggest an intruder. The actual person responsible for the murder varies depending on who is theorizing. A recent television program claims that police theorized that Patsy
How do you accidentally kill a kid?
JonBenet. That same program also posited that Burke Ramsey, JonBenet's 9-year-old little brother, accidentally killed JonBenet as well. However, for Patsy or Burke to be the culprit, not only would the note have to be staged, but so would the strangulation. And that doesn't add up when you consider the evidence suggests that JonBenet was still alive as she was being strangled. Furthermore, handwriting analysis also ruled out John Ramsey and ruled Patsy Ramsey as inconclusive. Experts believe the signs are more consistent with child abduction and murder done by an intruder. Fascinatingly, in 2013, it came to light that in 1999, a grand jury had voted to indict JonBenet's parents on charges of child abuse resulting in death. However, the Boulder District Attorney at the time, Alex Hunter, did not sign the indictment, believing that there was not enough evidence to support the charges. Casting further doubt on this theory is the fact that the DNA evidence procured from the crime scene officially exonerated the entire Ramsey family. You could see why people would think it may be one of them in the family, though, because if it was indeed an accident, you would have to cover it up, you would have to write a note. Which brings us to our first non-Ramsey suspect, a local
beard.
man named Bill McReynolds, who had visited the Ramsey house 2 days before JonBenet's murder. Sometimes dressed up as Santa Claus, his own daughter had been kidnapped 22 years before the JonBenet murder. His wife had written a play,
The
getting molested and
fuck?
then murdered in a basement. According to the Denver Post, this man felt close to JonBenet. Here's a quote from him. Quote, "Her murder was harder on me than my operation. She made a profound change in me." End quote. McReynolds even brought a vial of glitter gifted to
That
him by
doesn't seem
JonBenet
very
after
sanitary.
surgery. The gift had been meaningful to him since no child had ever given him a gift while playing Santa. He even asked his wife to mix the glitter with his ashes.
What?
This also could be just the acts of a kind old man.
It is up until him wanting
That's
her
a
glitter mixed with his ashes.
Fair. I tell you what, did he murder her? Maybe not. Is the glitter with your ashes a weird thing to ask for?
It's the
Absolutely.
weirdest,
That's
yeah.
very weird. I don't like that at all.
No.
I wish I didn't know it, but now it's in my brain. And now it's in all your brains, whoever's watching this.
Deal with it.
However, beyond these sensationalized details, which can also be interpreted as the acts of a friendly old man, there is nothing to suggest McReynolds as the murderer. The next suspect is Gary Oliva, a man who lived a few blocks away from the Ramsey home at the time of the murder. In 2016, Oliva was arrested on charges of child pornography. In December of 2000, Oliva was arrested on unrelated drug charges and was found to be carrying a photo of John Bonet in his backpack. He explained why he had the photo to the Denver Post. Quote, John Bonet's I felt she was an exceptional
Dude,
girl.
you're a convicted pedophile.
Loss. I felt the need to build a monument, a shrine, to remember this little girl.
Oh, I don't like
End quote.
Ryan, I know everybody wanted to hear about this case, but I don't want to anymore. I'm done.
Touching on the suspect, this guy's very suspicious.
Yeah, Ryan, he is.
And it's gonna get worse.
Why?
A high school friend of Oliva named Michael Vale revealed in an interview with In Touch magazine that Oliva called him a day after the murder occurred and said, quote, I heard a little girl, end quote. According to Vale, Oliva also revealed the location of where he had hurt this girl, Boulder, Colorado.
6
after
more
which Oliva
minutes.
hung up the phone. This is interesting if true because records show that no other girl other than John Bonet was harmed in that area that night. Vale also revealed that the strangulation method used on John Bonet was also allegedly used by Oliva when Oliva attempted to strangle his own mother with a telephone cord.
Why would someone make that up?
I don't know. You got to imagine these people, since the story's so sensationalized, they would get paid to give an interview, right? An exclusive, because it is an exclusive with In Touch, which we all know is the major true crime publication of the United States.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Gary Oliva was
Dang
also
it.
not a match to the DNA evidence.
So if he did hurt, he probably hit the body very well.
A divorce. You don't even like his name. You don't like people
No,
with their names.
I remember this fucking guy.
Okay.
He's got a weird head.
Father, an elementary school teacher. Carr did not become a suspect until nearly 10 years after the murder, when he confessed to the murder via email to a journalism professor named Michael Tracy. Tracy had emailed back and forth with Carr for 4 years in order to gain his trust.
That's good journalism.
It's good journalism, but I mean, you gotta imagine it takes a toll on you emotionally.
Yeah, to have a weird pen pal like that.
A weird pen pal, yeah, that's a good way to say it.
I just don't know what you say to someone for 4 years. I'll be
Hey,
like,
do you know anything about that kid that got killed
Yeah,
in
no
Colorado?
one's ever asked me if I murdered anyone.
Maybe they're not asking the right questions. Tracy said this of the experience, quote, you are reading and hearing a truly dark side of the human psyche, and having to pretend it's okay that I wasn't going to sit in judgment, because otherwise the communication would have stopped. This is the worst experience
Dude,
of
he
my
probably
life
needed a
by far.
therapist after
It's
that.
horrible. End quote.
Was he also pretending to be a weirdo?
He had to have been, right?
Was he like, yeah, man, I'm a journalist, but I'm a sicko, trust me. Trust me, I'm a sicko.
That's all he said.
It's cool that he made that noise.
That's
For
all.
4 years, trust me, I'm a sicko. Write me back.
Judging from the character of this guy that you'll learn later, John Mark Carr, I don't think it's going to take a lot to outfox him, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember this dum-dum.
In his emails, Carr used similar wording as the ransom note. At one point, he used Patsy's mother's nickname in an email, Nettie, and it was bizarre that he would even know that. Carr would eventually write that he was in love with John Bonet, and would later confess to hitting John
What
Bonet
the
in head
hell?
with a flashlight. Here's some of the email. Quote, she of course was asleep from the time that I took her from her bed and took her into the basement. Her first reaction was, where am I? And I said, you're in your basement. She wasn't in that little room to be disgraced, and I would never disgrace her or dishonor her. She was there temporarily, and what really hurts me is that she stayed there, and that's where her father found her, and it's just a horrible thing. End quote.
That gives me that weird stomach feeling.
I'm just getting kind of bummed out and sad, but we'll keep going here.
On August 16th, 2008, with the help of British intelligence, the Royal Thai Authority,
Why are we getting 3 countries involved?
Homeland Security, they were
Oh,
able
that's
to track
why.
down Carr in Bangkok, Thailand, where where he had traveled to from
Yep.
the U.S. to escape
You're a
child
creeper.
pornography charges in California.
And your
A few
face
months
looks
after
like
this
a
confession,
trapezoid.
Boulder County District Attorney Mary Lacey issued a formal apology to John Ramsey for the suspicion his family had lived with, and said that no one in the Ramsey family is considered a suspect. Carr's DNA did not match the DNA found on the scene,
Oh,
and he
fucking
was not
hell.
charged with the murder. However, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security continued to investigate John Mark Carr. He had always maintained that he had not acted alone. If you'll recall, there were 2 sets of unidentified footprints found at the scene. It's worth mentioning that former Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner, the lead investigator on the JonBenet Ramsey case for a time, said in a Reddit AMA in regards to John Mark Carr that, quote, his confession, once they shared it with us, did not match the evidence at the scene. We knew in about 18
He was a
hours
red
he was
herring.
not the guy. We were able to confirm he was not even in Colorado at the time by just doing some routine checking and then obtained photos of him in Georgia at the time, end quote. I think in all these cases, you just want justice to be served so badly that you just kind of want to just plug in the holes.
On this one, though, I don't want him, like, you know, if he's just lying, I don't want him to get what he wants.
Yeah, it's true. If you are the kind of person that wants to take credit for a child murder,
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to give him that satisfaction if you didn't do it.
No, you don't get prison, you weirdo.
Now that we've looked at the suspects, I'd like to point out that in a recent CBS program, DNA expert Dr. Henry Lee, best known from the O.J. Simpson case, studied the DNA from the JonBenet scene. Dr. Lee found that JonBenet's underwear may have held transfer DNA from the manufacture process, and proved this by testing an unopened bag of underwear, which also had born DNA on them. The
Oh,
CBS
jeez,
program
that
concluded that the
sucks.
DNA from the crime scene was therefore fallacious, meaning that conceivably,
Oh,
any of the
man.
listed suspects could possibly be the
Maybe it was that Olivia guy.
So basically, it's just making the case even more open-ended than we already thought it was.
Yeah, because DNA was ruling out a bunch of other people.
Yeah, so it could conceivably be anyone.
Well, what the fuck are we doing here,
Well,
man?
that's why it's
This is
unsolved.
why?
There's a reason why it's unsolved. In the end, nobody truly knows what happened to JonBenet Ramsey. The odd details of the
Oh,
case
she did die on
will likely
Christmas.
forever cloud the truth, and the case tragically remains unsolved. I can't say who I think did it. Our legal team has informed me that I can't chime in on that, so. But I will now blink to you in Morse code who I think did it.
You don't know Morse code. He doesn't know Morse code.
Well, everyone who knows Morse code knows who I thought did it. So, it's unsolved.
Did he even say
Well, we
2
did nothing
letters?
here once again.
No, this was the worst.
Yeah, this was great.
Thanks, Ryan.
Same time next week.
No,
Okay. That's my chair.
that's mine now.
One way to treat people.
So I'm just gonna quickly see what the other people think. I would suggest like a reverse DNA dragnet thing like they did for the Golden State Killer, but I don't think it's gonna happen since the DNA was already like not the DNA they wanted. See you guys in the